Dear students, very good morning. Today, in our lecture number 3, in the chapter, let us mention the title of the chapter. Actually, you know that's chapter number 8, How Living Organism Reproduced. That means reproduction, and today you are attending in that lecture number 3 actually. Just try to understand what we have studied in previous 2 lectures. In the first lecture we understood importance of variation and how DNA copy take place. Then in second lecture we discussed in detail about various methods of asexual reproduction, as you know. The topic which we are going to start in today's lecture, that is our topic 8.3, that is about sexual reproduction. Okay? The topic which we are understanding today is sexual reproduction. Okay? First, try to understand what is the difference actually between sexual and asexual reproduction. You have already studied in previous standard. If not, let us explain you. As you know, in asexual reproduction, only one parent participate. Understand? And at that time I told you that when an organism produces another living organism of its own type, one process which is inevitable and essential, that is copying DNA and transferring DNA genetic material from one generation to another generation. In asexual reproduction, one parent only is involved in the process of reproduction. No doubt, while copying DNA, understand, it may not be the exact copy, there is some variation. And as I told you in our first lecture, that this micro variation in copying DNA will produce variation in living organism, and those variation will give living organism different capacity, different capability to survive in variable environment. And actually that gives us a chance to survive our species in the ever-changing environment. Actually, what is the purpose of sexual reproduction? Importance of variation we have already studied in lecture number 1. And what is the importance of variation? So that variation which arises in new progeny or new individual will give them different capacity to survive in changing environment. But if you just think, even if we are able to produce some variation in the next generation when only single parent is participating, understand? So if there are two parents participating that with different sexes, so two parent means two different individual living organism possessing entirely contrast character, contrast characteristic feature. Understand? I have already mentioned. Two different individual, we are discussing that, having entirely different variation. Understand? When they participate in producing new living organism with some more variation than just try to understand two different individual, understand, male and female, with totally contrast characteristic features and variation, when participate and produces a new living organism, so that new living organism definitely will get some variation as a gift from parent. But that living organism which is produced will has its own variation also. So when a new living organism is produced by two different living organisms possessing different sex, what happens? The new living organism which is produced is full of variety, full of variation. Understand? Now that individual when grow up, become matured, and when it reproduces with another living organism and produces again a new living organism, that boost up the process of variation, means I can say it speed up the process of variation. You just see in your classroom, when you all are sitting, are you all looking alike? No. Each and every individual is born in this world with variation. Even in your classroom, when you look at the people, look at the students sitting around you, all are with variations. And this variation give us different capacity to survive in the changing environment. You understood this? So when two individual, one male parent and female parent, participate in the process of reproduction, this process will speed up the process of variation. And when it speed up the process of variation, it will give rise to new individual with completely different capacity to survive in the changing circumstances, and it will ensure the survival or existence of particular species for many generations to come. That's why sexual reproduction is also one of the inevitable process for the survival of, for the existence of particular species of complex, complicated living organism for future survival also. So one thing is sure, when two different living organisms are going to participate in the process of reproduction, definitely it will boost up and speed up the process of variation, will create a large number of individuals with different variations, which give them various different capability to survive in ever-changing environment. That's why sexual reproduction by two different individuals is necessary to ensure the existence of all species of living organism for future. Now, my dear student, just try to understand. Two parents are participating, as you all know, in sexual reproduction. One male, okay, and one female. Just try to understand. You all have studied a little bit in primary standard also. Understand that zygote is formed. You all know this by the union of female ovum, okay, female ovum or egg cell, that word also you can utilize, female ovum, understand, and male sperm, as you all know. Okay, just try to understand, this is male sperm. Actually, after the union of these two, understand, zygote is formed, and this zygote actually goes under so many processes, as you all know. Which process this zygote will undergo for producing a complete living organism, that you all know, cell proliferation, okay, that means increase in the number of cell. Then you all know cell differentiation, then you all know that tissue formation, understand, tissue formation, then organ formation, understand, then organ system formation, and then complete body of living organism. It undergoes so many processes. But my dear student, try to understand one very important and sparkling phenomenon which occurs when the zygote is formed. I have already mentioned in my first lecture that every living organism has got particular number of chromosomes in the nucleus of their cell. If you just think of, just try to understand this process, if you just think of human being, our individual cell has got how many chromosomes? 23 pair, means 46, that you all know. Suppose I just saw one female somatic cell, understand? So it has how many chromosomes? 46. I saw, suppose, male somatic cell, how many chromosomes? 46. Just try to understand one very important thing. If it happened that in the same condition, male cell and female cell, if combined, then the zygote will be formed with how many chromosomes? 46 plus 46, 92 chromosomes. That means you can call it genetic mutation, and that will never give rise to that. That means if such genetic mutation take place, that will endanger the existence of our own species. So actually what happens here, one type of cell division actually take place here. What happens from each cell, suppose you think of male, each cell divides into two sperms and number of chromosome reduces to half. Here 23, here 23. Similarly from mother cell also the same process take place. What happens from mother cell? Each cell, understand, divides into two cell, two ovum consisting half the number of chromosome 23, 23. You understood this, and now what happens here, one sperm containing 23 chromosome, an egg containing 23 chromosome when combined, obviously zygote will have how many chromosome? 23 plus 23, that is 46. Then zygote divides into number of cell, there the chromosome remains the same. No change occurs in the chromosome now. Understand? That's a zygote consisting of 46 chromosomes. Okay. Then cell proliferation means zygote divides into 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8. That process continue. But at that time, the number of chromosome maintains. Understand? One zygote divides into two cells. They will have equal number of chromosome. This 2 divides into 4 will have equal number of chromosome. Chromosome reduces to half only during the time of producing reproductive cell to avoid the process of any genetic mutation. Understand? So this way the process take place. Understood? This is somewhat I explain you how the sexual reproduction actually take place. Understood? Now my dear student, this complex process which take place, understand, actually one thing you should understand that for growth and development of living organism, only this type of division take place where the number of chromosomes are maintained. One cell divides. But for the process of producing reproductive cell, it is such a process where one cell divides into two sperm or egg. The number of chromosomes reduces to half, so that when the zygote is formed by the union of those two male and female gamete will ensure that it will have 46 chromosomes. You understood this? This is the design of the nature and greatest boon of the nature for us. Understand? That's why no genetic mutation will take place and no danger for the survival of our generation. So sexual reproduction is a must because it speed up the process of variation, will give individual different capacity to survive in different kind of environment. Understood? In sexual reproduction, we have to study two topics. 8.3.2. One, that is 2, that is sexual reproduction in flower, and then sexual reproduction in human being. Sexual reproduction in flower, if you can remember 9th standard, diversity of living organism in plant kingdom, can you remind those? Monera, Protista, are you able to remind that? Then Bryophyta or Thellophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperm and Angiosperm. Angiosperm means higher flowering plant. Understand? So in plant also, sexual reproduction reproduction take place? If somebody asks you what are reproductive organs in animal, so you all know, understand that in male testis and in female ovary. Similarly, which is actually the reproductive organ of a flower. So actually flower is in flower the reproductive organ exists in plants, means in higher flowering plant, and that you all know, you have studied in primary also. Understand, just try to understand male reproductive organ in flower, that is called stamen, and female reproductive organ in flower is called carpel. Sometimes we also call it pistil also. Let us try to understand and try to visualize how reproduction take place in plants. Okay. Let us take that topic. How reproduction take place in plants. Let us try to understand. Okay. Just let us mention under this title, okay, reproduction in plants. That means you know one thing, as we have to study in detail about flower, because flower is the main organ of plant which possess male and female reproductive organ. It may happen that suppose if somebody asks you that which type of living organism are we human being. So as you all know, we are termed as unisexual living organism, because in human being male and female are different, possessing different reproductive organs. So we are, because in us male and female are different, we are called unisexual living organism. But it happen in plant that in some plant you will see that flower contains only one reproductive organ. Understand? So such plant are known as unisexual, like papaya, watermelon. So their flower possess individually only one either male or female reproductive organ. That means either stamen or carpel, one flower does not contain both reproductive organs together. Individual flower possess only one reproductive organ. You can call them unisexual flower, unisexual plant. At the same time, some plant like mustard, hibiscus, which we call dhatura also, understand? So in those flower, actually both reproductive organ do exist at the same time in one flower, stamen also, carpel also. Understand? So such type of flower are called bisexual flower, or such plant, mustard, hibiscus, we can call them bisexual plant, and such flower which consists both the reproductive organ in one flower, we can call it bisexual flower, bisexual plant. Understand? You have already somewhere in primary standard or in previous standard, you may have studied somewhat about the process of pollination already. Let us try to revive and let us just try to understand the reproductive organ in flower, means in plant. Okay, let us try to understand reproductive organ in flower. Okay, just let us draw the diagram, simple diagram, not so difficult. At least you all know just we want to show four parts of the flower which you have already studied. Sepals, which is actually a green supporting part for the flower. Then petals, understand. Then we will draw male and female reproductive organ. Understand, sometime it happens that they may ask in board exam, understand, just to draw maybe in 2 or 3 mark the reproductive organ in flower. That good figure that is required, some good level sketch you require to draw. Okay, let us just try to draw, understand, reproductive organ in flower. Okay, let us just try to understand reproductive organs, understand, in flower. Okay, just let us try to draw a simple diagram which has been given, understand, in textbook. Okay, suppose let us start drawing flower with the supporting part which you can call sepal. Understand, let us try to draw the sepal. Actually not so difficult, you can draw yourself also. Suppose let us try to show sepals first. Okay, that's a supporting part for the plant, sepals. Okay, then you try to draw in that drawing the after petals, you can draw yourself also. No some specification is required at all, understand, you can draw it yourself also. Suppose you draw some this way. Okay, sepals we are going to draw, right? Somewhere from here if I move, okay, some sepals, let us just try to draw. This way also sufficient. Okay, right. And in that sepals, to make it more proper, this way you can show like this way. Okay, it looks more okay, understand, sepals. Okay, just try to understand with me and try to draw with me, not so difficult diagram actually. Okay, like nephron and all that we studied, there was a little different. Okay, here also this way, just try to understand, dear student. થોડું it looks better એટલે એવું કરી નાખવાનું, understand, it looks more better, petals. Okay, these are, we are showing the petals. Okay, okay, it looks better, petals you can show this way, not so difficult diagram actually, right, you can understand it quite easily. Okay, here you should be little careful to show this. Okay, right. Okay, now dear student, this is a supporting part, so at least shows some green structure, as you know, leaf here. Okay, let us try to show that. This way you can show it. Okay, one or two you just show here also. Okay, one other leaf. Okay, this is okay. You understood this? Now, actually you have to show here, let me erase this, female reproductive organ. You have drawn female reproductive organ somewhere. Let us just try to understand it. Female reproductive organ, let us try to, so you know, you individual know the female reproductive organ in flower somewhat this way. You understood this swollen part. So this swollen part you start from here. Okay, this is this swollen part. Okay, somewhere from here also you can take this way. Just show this swollen part, that is the ovary. Okay. This swollen lower part of the female reproductive organ is called ovary. This is ovary, okay, where ovules are produced, and then you just, this is the, you are showing style actually. Understand, this is style. Just show this way. This is actually you are showing style. Understand? Just we extend. Why? Because so that you can explain and you can understand it. Okay? Just extend it. And this is what we are showing, stigma. Okay? So this is female reproductive organ, and so male reproductive organ also, one, two or three you can show, okay, somewhere from here. Suppose I show male reproductive organ, okay. You all know what I am drawing is that filament in male reproductive organ, okay, this filament type structure, right. Two to three structure you can draw, okay, male reproductive organ. Here also you can show at least one or two, right. Here also you can show some of the male reproductive organ, okay. Front of the male reproductive organ can be shown this way, which are actually called antheridia. You know that? Understand? Antheridia. Okay, this way you can show. These are antheridia. Okay. This is sufficient for you to understand and draw, and then some shading if you want to do that, so you can do yourself. Understand? This is little swollen part, okay. Okay, so if you just label it, this is green colored part, what you can say it, right? That is petal, which is actually the supporting here shading. You can show some green lining also. But in exam, so you do not have to utilize that. Understand? This is just I am showing. So this part is called actually sepal. Understand? And then this is called petals actually. Okay? These are petals. Just try to understand, this is female reproductive organ in plant, in flower actually, What is this called? Can you remind? This lower swollen part of female reproductive organ is called ovary. This long tube-like structure, as you know, is called style. This upper broad part is known as stigma, as you know. Understand? And this whole structure from here up till here is actually called pistil. What you can call? Pistil also. Okay? Just try to understand the female reproductive organ, three parts actually. Which are those? Ovary, style and stigma. As far as male reproductive organ is concerned, this is called filament. This stick-like structure is called filament, and this is called actually anther, or you can call antheridia. Understood? So this is somewhat such structure, and you can show some shading, that is sufficient. Understand? Some shading if you show, the diagram becomes complete. Okay? Now just try to understand. This is, we have drawn the diagram of reproductive organ in flower. Just try to understand. Sepal, that's a supporting part for the petals, and exactly here exists female reproductive organ, and these are male reproductive organ. Like you call it pistil, this is called actually stamen. So kahi sako, stamen also this can be called. Okay. Now try to understand what actually exists here in the ovary here. Just try to understand the lower swollen part of female reproductive organ, which is called ovary here. Understand? Somewhat such slashing the development of style, and that you can show this way. Okay. And here ovules are produced in ovary. These are some ovules you can show. These are actually ovules. Understood? Ovules are called female reproductive cell in flower. And what is produced? Here you can see some yellow minute particles. Understand? Which are actually called pollen grains, as you all know. Pollen grains which are green in, which are actually yellow in color. Sometimes when you touch any flower, some yellow minute particles stick. That is called pollen grain. So those pollen grain are actually present in this antheridia. Understand? So this is the complete structure of flower and showing female and male reproductive organ. Now how actually reproduction take place in flower? You have studied somewhere in primary. Transfer of, see when I speak, I will just show here also. What you studied in primary, transfer of pollen grain, these are pollen grain, from anther of stamen, this is called, actually male reproductive organ is called stamen also. So what is the definition of pollination actually? Transfer of pollen grain from anther of stamen to stigma of carpel. See, pollen grain from here will transfer here. Understand? That process, as you know, is known as pollination. You somewhere studied in primary also the definition of pollination, if you can remember. What is that? The transfer of pollen grain from anther of stamen to stigma of carpel, that is known as pollination. Pollination take place in the same flower. It can happen that transfer of pollen grain may take place from anther of stamen of same flower to the stigma of carpel of same flower. Suppose I have drawn one flower here, and if this way the pollination take place between reproductive organ of the same flower, then you can call it, note down, self-pollination. What is it called? Self-pollination. But if transfer of pollen grain take place between the different reproductive organ of different flower, then we can call it cross pollination. Understand? Self-pollination and cross pollination. How pollination take place, you all know. Which are the agents of pollination is studied in primary also. Can you tell me which are the agents of pollination? The wind, water, understand, even some insects, even birds also help in the process of pollination. Understand? These are all agents of pollination. Understood? Actually, what happens when any pollen grain falls here? What actually it does, it has to reach to the ovule, and for that purpose, if you can remember, which we have taught in control and coordination, chemotropism. If you can remember, actually what happens if any pollen grain, understand, falls on stigma, then this pollen grain, I am not showing for individual diagram because it's so simple to understand. This pollen grain which falls here on the stigma has to reach up to the ovule. And for reaching up to the ovule, at that time also I explained, pollen grain develop pollen tube. Let me just try to show you a simple pollen tube. This is pollen tube. Understand? And this pollen tube actually transfers the pollen grain up to the ovule. Understand? This pollen tube transfers pollen grain. Pollen grain will travel in this pollen tube and reach up to the ovule, and here this pollen grain fertilizes the ovule. When pollen grain and ovule fertilize with each other, understand, so actually what happens, this ovule will actually gamete took place. What happened? The pollen grain and ovule united with each other, understand, and zygote is formed, and that zygote is ultimately going to be converted, as you know. Actually what, this pollen grain goes inside the ovule like sperm goes inside the ovum cell, understand? And there after it goes inside, means fertilizes the ovule, this ovule develops a tough coat and turns into which we call seed, understand? So this way seed formation take place, which may give rise to a new plant, understand, and ultimately this ovary converts into a fruit. So this way fruit formation take place, and this way seed formation also take place. Understood? Right? And then rest of the part like petals, sepals, all, what happens slowly after the fruit formation, understand, they fall away. You understood the process, right? Sometime if you buy some fruits, understand, from the market, you are able to see some small leaf with it, that part which we delete from it, understand, which we actually cut from it. Actually, the ovary has converted into fruits and ovules has converted into seeds. This is the process how reproduction take place in flower. You understood this? Okay, my dear students. So this is reproductive organ in flower. We understood. Understand? In textbook, individual diagram is given that you can understand and draw it yourself. Not so complicated it looks. Okay. So this is how we have understood reproductive organ in flower. Today we want to complete our lecture here and do not want to start a new topic, that is reproductive organ in human being, that is discussion about male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ. Understand that we are not taking today because we do not want to mess up that topic here. We will give another lecture for reproductive organ, that means reproduction in human being, that we will discuss in the next lecture. You understood this? Okay. So my dear student, today you got an idea about sexual reproduction and how sexual reproduction help in boosting or speed up the process of variation, and how it will give in every species a new capability to survive in any changing environment. For that, sexual reproduction is necessary, inevitable and essential. At the same time, we also explained you how reproduction take place in plants. Understand? And we have just understood the structure of flower, which is actually a main reproductive part of the flower consisting of male and female reproductive organ. There may be unisexual flower, there may be bisexual flower also, and at that time I explained if pollination take place between the reproductive organ of the same flower, we call it self-pollination, and if it takes between the reproductive organs of different flower, we can call it cross-pollination. You understood this? Okay. And which are the agents of pollination, that I explained, and how pollen grain reaches up to the ovule to fertilize it, insert inside the ovule, get and do the process of cell proliferation, understand, and the ovule converts into a tough coat and forms a seed, and ovary ultimately converts into fruit. Understand? So this way reproduction take place in flower, and in next lecture we will study about how reproduction take place in human being. At the same time we will also discuss, maybe in next lecture or maybe in one more lecture, the process of contraception, understand, which is inevitable. Okay. So my dear student, thank you very much from Bharat sir for attending today's lecture.